don't feel myself today. I can't explain it. No, I can't shake it. Everyone wants to label me without hearing my voice, without giving me a choice. It's hard to break the glass when you're swinging at the mirror, screaming at your reflection. It's time to change my language and speak kindness to that weary girl. 'Cause I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm beautiful. From the inside, the inside, the inside. From the inside out.
And welcome, the Wireless Mic Podcast number 3, the Terrific Threes. We're on our quest to get to double figures. Today, the guest. It's the woman, the myth, the Amber Sweeney. How's it going?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks. How are you?
Well, not too bad. It sounds like you're doing much better than last week.
Yeah, last week I got that awesome cold flu thing that's kind of going around. That was not fun.
Well, and the thing was, in the middle of 3 shows for the week.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was at the beginning of the week, I was oh, I'll be fine. I got the cold now. And then all of a sudden it was this is not leaving. And I have 3 shows I have to push through, which was, it's always fun to push through when you're sick anyway. But I lost my voice on Friday.
By that last one. Well, and what I'd love to hear about it though, Amber, was I was just what did you do? Right in the middle of the set, you flipped the script.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was from the get-go. It wasn't even the middle. It was a sound check in, and I look at the guys in my band and I'm I can't sing. I don't know what I'm going to do. So
did you lean back in between a song and it's Jazz Odyssey time?
Oh, absolutely. And the Alex Milstead and Shook Black were my players that night, and they were so fantastic. So I was just all right, here's the song. I detuned my guitar a whole step, just kind of trying to sing monotone down here for what I could, and then it was just solos. They played all the notes multiple times. And it was fabulous. I mean, people stayed. They had a good time. They were yeah, this was great.
And you still got people up and dancing? And how'd that work?
They did, actually. I was really impressed with that. I was you guys can still dance if you want to. And they were okay. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're gearing up for another swing of dates. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to be San Francisco, Montrose, Colorado, Denver, Reno, kind of doing a little bit of a loop, just a spring, short little run out there. And I'm so excited about it. It's me and my guitar. We got some great partnerships with Songwriter Studio in San Francisco. It's going to be great. And then also I get to team up with my buddy Matt Martino in Denver and play at the Walnut Room. So
nice. I was seeing some things on Facebook on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm really excited. And I love going. I mean, I've got family in Denver, so it's always fun to go there. But I've been really enjoying my time in San Francisco.
Now, are these follow-ups to the tour last year? The big tour.
The big tour. Yeah, basically. I mean, I think as an artist, you're kind of, if you really want, or if you really enjoy playing live, touring is just your life. So you're always going to be on the road. And at this point, we've been trying to sort of line up tours so that in the springtime we're gone for, a short run, and then in the fall we'll do kind of a bigger tour. So we've been intentionally trying to map that out so that we're always on the road, and then always coming home, and then always on the road and always coming home, and just constantly getting in front of as many people as we can.
Well, and the thing I find fascinating, Amber, is when it's your livelihood, you are just nose to the grindstone, whatever you've got to do. And I've also seen Facebook once again, you were doing some background vocals,
yeah.
You've been songwriting, things like that.
What I do is session work, which is really fun. So when I'm home, I work often in London Bridge Studios with my buddies up there. And I'll do vocal producing, or I'll do backing vocals. I do a lot of co-writes. Last year I co-wrote an album with a country gal named Miller Campbell, and she's out there rocking it. Did some co-writes with her recently too. So hopefully she'll have a new project coming out. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just super fun. Jazzy D's another guy that I work with a lot. He'll send me some tracks and have me, write melodies and lyrics and stuff. And so I do a lot of that kind of stuff as well. And I love it. I love the producing side of it and the writing side of it.
Now, how is it different just writing on your disc when you wrote everything, just you, as opposed to co-writing with somebody? There's a part of it that I almost love more, co-writing, but what I love about it is I love people. So to me, sitting down in a room with somebody and being like, okay, what story do we want to tell here? What are you going through, and what do you want to say? I really enjoy that part because we can really pick everything apart, and oh well, I kind of want to say this, or here's this line, and you're like, okay, well, where did that come from? What does that mean to you? And you can ask those kinds of questions and explore things a little bit more when you're in the room with somebody, working together with them, versus when I'm alone going, well, I kind of want to say this, but I don't really know how to say that, so I'm just going to sit here and play through it a million times by myself without having that dialogue. So you're sharing the vision.
You're sharing the vision. I like that.
That's cool. Back to the disc really quick, if we could revisit that. It's awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
Can they still get it? Where can they get it?
Absolutely, you can still get it. You can get it from me directly at theambersweeney.com. Or if you are of a digital nature, you can download it through Amazon, Apple. You can stream it on Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Music, all those things.
Nice. Yeah. And this was one of those, Amber, that 2 years back is when this one hit.
Yeah.
And what's next as far as putting out some new material?
What is next? The worst question in the world. No, it's the best question in the world.
I do what I can. Either way.
No, I mean, like every musician always says, well, I'm in the studio again. Yeah. I'm getting in the studio.
What does that mean? Sitting there eating lunch?
Yeah, I'm going back in the studio. I've actually been tracking some songs at home, which is great.
Actually, I love that, back in the studio, because following bands growing up, that was what you'd read in the magazine or an interview. Hey, they're back in the studio.
Yeah.
So when you hear those words,
you get excited.
Back in the studio. 4 words. You're imagining they're cranking it all out.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that really might not be it.
Maybe if you have a giant budget and rent out a studio for a month or two, right. Sure. If you're an indie artist, no. You're like, oh, how much does that cost per hour? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come back when we're ready. But no, I thankfully I've got a home studio, so I have been tracking some stuff at home and working with a couple of buddies of mine, trying to see if we can't plot out some singles and come up with some new stuff to release this year. So I do have some singles on the docket. I will be recording at Clackamas Community College, actually.
Nice.
They have an incredible audio engineering program, and so I get to be featured as an artist through their next term of recording. So I get a free song out of it, which is great.
Yay!
And I get to be a part of sewing back into the community of audio engineers who are coming up.
Well, exactly, because I think that's what I've noticed about you, Amber. It's not just the performance and that. You like to do, things for the right causes, helping people out, musicians or songwriters, and you don't have to do that. So it's fantastic that you do.
I really believe in it. I mean, I believe that, relationships and kindness are what make the world really go round, right? I mean, those are those things that we're always fighting for. We always want to belong. And I think for me, one of the things is I always felt misunderstood growing up. And so music to me is about helping people feel understood. And so if I can invest either my time or my energy or my resources outside of music, that's fabulous. I want to do that. I want to help people feel understood. And I think that's largely because I've wanted to be understood. But I think also music helps do that. So to me, I can't do anything else. This is just so natural for me.
That's awesome. I mean, when you're following that, you can't say no.
Yeah.
You just can't. And I love that you share a lot of the building blocks, the steps to get to it.
Yeah.
That's what's great. Well, and this was something we've talked about it before. I remember you've mentioned before, how do you get classified as an artist? Because you're you've talked about that. You're I've been featured on some R&B things, but you're co-writing for country. but there's a little hip hop in there. And it's like, why do we need to have a classification? But then it's hard because you're trying to find the right lane to keep going in.
I think genres are great as far as identifying for marketing purposes, and I think that that's truly what genres are about. Genres are about helping to define an image so that somebody who has this brain who can go out there and be like, well, this is the brand and this is the sound, it just naturally flows. And so people get a picture immediately in their head of what it is. But I am not that kind of an artist. Like, I was watching this thing, Clive Davis was talking about Alicia Keys, and she actually had a similar struggle where she was all these things, and she was, a little bit of pop and a little bit of jazz and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And when Clive saw her, he recognized in her that she was one of those artists that you couldn't just like brand and be like, oh, she's this. It was, you have to see her. And once you see her, you will 100% get it.
Right.
You'll totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
But until you see her, you're going to be like, but what is she? And now that doesn't even exist. Like, you think of Alicia Keys and you're like, oh, I totally know who she is. And the whole world does.
Right.
So to me, I feel like, no, we don't need genres because music is music. And if it connects with you, it connects with you. But I also feel like marketers are like, no, we need that so we can. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, I kind of see your point, but
right, because they're like, we have to have this product that we can keep advancing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not. I've been trying to identify my sound for a long time because it's a lot of soul, it's a lot of blues, it's a little R&B, it's a little folk kind of.
Exactly.
Which is weird because it's like, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, it's kind of, it's just like a little bit of everything. So I don't really know. People are now using Americana and singer-songwriter kind of synonymously. Uh-huh. And it's weird to watch that develop, right? Where you're like,
well, it is. Because Americana, to me, that's old school country.
Right. But when you look at now Americana, even how they define themselves, it's a little bit of roots, it's a little bit of blues, it's a little bit of soul, it's a little bit of country, it's a little bit of folk. You're like, oh, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You just got to hear it.
Well, and one thing I will say, Amber, is some of the Americana artists that, I can remember Jason Isbell and Margot Price, they're still very rooted songwriters.
Yeah.
So it's still a really root. I'm getting in there with my songwriting. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of that to it too. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I think at the heart of music, songwriting it's so important. I mean, what kind of story are you telling really is the question, and I think that a good song is going to tell a story that connects, and that I don't think the genre matters at all. I think that, so long as you can get some kind of emotion across that makes people feel, they're like, oh, I feel that exact same thing. Thank you for sharing that. You're articulating what I can't. Thank you.
Right.
Then, that you're doing your job as a songwriter.
Well, and being able to share that with a broad audience is really cool.
Yeah.
The first time I saw you, the Magenta Theater opening for the Neil Young tribute band.
Yeah.
And that's when I bought the disc. You autographed it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And after I put it on, I'm like, well, this is totally different from what the live show was.
It is. And I think a lot of that, I mean, production is so much fun. Like, I had some incredible players on this record. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to go for something that was more directly soul. And I'm not a piano player, so a lot of this album is very piano driven, which is great.
Right.
But when I play live by myself, it's very acoustic guitar driven because that's the instrument.
Well, and and that was the difference, I think, because it was just you, yourself, the guitar, your stories.
Yeah.
Then you come on here, and like the first 3 songs, real R&B. There's a bit of horns, bit of strings, lots of and still soul.
Yeah.
And then it kind of took a little turn.
It does. Yeah. By the time you get to Claustrophobic and River's Edge, it does this little like, oh, that's kind of neat. What is that? Yeah. The storytelling part, or that folk influence, comes in a little bit more towards the end, I think. Mm-hmm. And gospel, really, I think. And I want it, especially on the last song. Yeah.
But I think it was Claustrophobic as I was listening to the lyrics. But but the way the tune was, it was like, wow, this really isn't that upbeat.
Yeah. Yeah. Claustrophobic's a funny song. It's a song for me. I hate dating. I hate it. Because I love getting to know people, right? Like,
Right.
so I love like hearing your story and like truly getting to know who you are. That's inspiring for me. And dating feels like it's like, okay, so I'm getting to know you because there's really an ulterior motive here. Like,
Right.
where is this going? So that's kind of where that song more or less came from, where it was like, oh God, I have to do this. Like, can't I just get to know people without there being an expectation?
Exactly.
So
what's the end game?
yeah, exactly.
Does there have
Does
to
there have
be
to be
one?
an end game?
It's the truth.
Yeah, so that it's kind of a funny song about that for me. But I think the reality is like I think a lot of people feel a little bit claustrophobic when they get into that situation. If they're just like, I just want to get to know people. Fine, whatever.
Well, I mean, congrats for making it happy.
Well, thank you. I try.
Well, and about the album too, how is it working with a producer? Was that your first time doing a full length in the studio?
It was the first time that I had worked with a producer on that. And Jeff Ott, oh my God, he's so much fun. I feel like in another life we're siblings or something. But he's just so peaceful. He knows his stuff. So it made going in and creating, like he just created this environment that was super easy. Like nothing felt hard. Mm-hmm. And if there was an idea to chase, we chased it, and it was like, oh, what if we tried this? Or what if we tried that? And there was never a no. It was always an atmosphere of yes. And, we did a lot of pre-production, and he just has some incredible ideas. And it was very synergistic working with him, which is why I still work with him on other people's projects.
Nice. Well, and I was really impressed you gave him a shout out at that show.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, well,
it was really nice.
His parents were there at the Magenta.
Even better.
It was awesome.
Well, yeah, because he couldn't bring him back to meet you, and no shout out.
Yeah. But I mean, I love working with the producer. I love it because the same with the songwriting. You get to bounce off ideas, and you get to have somebody to communicate with. That's like, I'm trying to capture this, or hey, I think we can capture that, and you talk it through and you work it through, and it's, I don't know, I love that.
Well, and then let me switch it up really quick here. Sure. I'll just switch it all around, please. How'd you get to the Pacific Northwest? If I remember right, you were a California girl.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. And then how did you, I know you made the move over here for one thing, kind of went different. Share as much as you would like.
Why, thank you. Well, yes, I was an LA girl, and I was in a band down there. I was in a rock band. I was playing bass. And the lead singer and his brother were from here. And we were kind of a really tight, close-knit group of people. We had a little Bible study. And when those guys decided to start getting married and wanted to start having families, they didn't want to raise their kids in LA, so they moved back home here.
Okay.
And it just happened to be perfect time for me. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this LA scene. We had gone through a lot of stuff in my family. I was 20. I needed a clean start. And so I moved. I came up here. It was the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
And I mean, my journey took some interesting turns. I was in that rock band for a little while, and then that ended. And then I was in a duo. And
that's what I remember. I don't remember the rock band. I just remember the duo.
Yeah, and that came quite a bit later after the rock band, actually.
Okay. And
the duo was I was with a gal who was an actress on One Tree Hill.
Right.
And so I spent a lot of time back there. We would co-write songs, and then the show was like, hey, we need music from for the storyline for your character. We'd like it to be yours. So we would write these songs, and then I would fly home and hire all the band and produce all the music and, all that. It was like sink or swim sort of a situation. And
serious,
which was awesome in the moment. I mean, it was chaotic, but like I think about that now, I'm like, I can't believe I got a crash course in that, like so quickly. And it was great. I mean, we had like 5 of our songs featured on, that show, and another one on Life Unexpected, which is great. And, unfortunately, bands don't always last. So
right.
That kind of blew up and went to hell pretty quick. But I got some great credits out of it.
Right.
And some great experiences out of it.
Right.
So. And then I decided, at that point, I hadn't really invested in the community here in Portland or Seattle. And so I realized that's so important to me. Like, who's the community here? And so, with the help of my best friend and my manager, Jessica, we started.
Props.
Yeah,
Props to Jessica.
Big props to Jessica.
Big props.
She was like, let's go get to know the community. So we did. We just started going, looking who the artists were, following them around, got involved in the recording academy, and just started getting to know people. So yeah.
Nice. And that was kind of when you made the decision just to be solo, no more bands.
Yeah. It's a lot to be. It takes a lot of patience to be in a band. And if you are in that, good for you. It is. It's kind of, people have always kind of mirrored it with marriage. They're like, it's like being in a marriage.
Right.
I've never been married, so I don't know.
Right.
But I can tell you that, there's a lot of good ideas and creative differences and arguments and awesomeness and sadness and awesomeness, and they break up. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that was fun. I just didn't want to keep going through that anymore. I was like, I want to be able to work with people, as it fits, and then when it doesn't fit, I don't want it to feel like a breakup. I want to be able to walk away and be like, that was fun, right? Like, cool, we actually had fun. I respect you. I like you.
Right.
I don't want to be like, oh, well, they are assholes. Cool.
That's important. Well, and that was one of the first times, I think after I first met you, I was channel flipping, and then I saw you slapping the bass on One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
It's like, I know who that is.
Good old times.
Yeah, it was just kind of the camera just kind of roamed after the scene, and there you are, attacking it. It was like, all right.
Yeah, there it was.
We'll take that.
Yeah, it was, and I had a great time. Like, some of those producers were they were super encouraging, and I learned so much. Like, I feel like that's one of the things, no matter how things end, you should always be able to go back in your journey and find the good things and pull those things forward. And let me tell you, through a lot of counseling and a lot of trial and error, I feel like I can look back on that time in my life now and say, there was a lot of good that came out of that for me. There was a lot of things that I have in my life now that most people would never get to experience in a lifetime. So I have a lot of gratitude for those experiences and the people that I partnered with in that time.
Well, and you share that now.
Yeah.
With the artistry and the songwriting, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's promote you a little bit. The tour dates. The next one is it April 22nd at Billy Blues?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Acoustic with My Happy Pill.
Yes.
And you've known them for a bit. Have you worked these shows before with them?
I have, but I think it's only started like the beginning of the year. I think it was or December or something like that. And these guys are so much fun to jam with. Mm-hmm. Like, if you haven't come down to Billy Blues yet, which you haven't, by the way.
I haven't for yours.
Yeah, need.
Okay.
You gotta come.
You got me.
I mean, they do it every Monday, and they have a guest every Monday. But it's just been so much fun to sit in with these guys, and I mean, these jams that end up happening. It's been really fun. I have a great time with them. They're amazing.
And then it's something else. I was alerted, a Facebook notification. Cathedral Ridge Winery, Hood River, June 16th, Father's Day brunch. You've moved up to the Fathers.
I have. All right.
Last question. Give me something fun, like on the tour last year, something funny from the audience or a fan. Could have been. They were inebriated. They weren't. And I also remember you guys talking about, Jessica as well, trying to park the car at the right place, at the right spot to get your stuff out.
Oh, man.
So give me just a couple of fun tidbits.
Couple of fun tidbits from the tour.
No one yelled Zeppelin or Freebird
or anything? Oh, they always do. Oh, yeah. So I came up with a new rule. For every time somebody asks me to play Freebird, you have to put money in the tip jar. Like, every time. It's there, and that's kind of funny. I did that at a winery in Northern California, and they did. I was like, "Well, right, that works."
That's fantastic.
It's like my version of the douche jar from The New Girl. Instead of Schmitty, it's everybody who asked me to play Freebird. No, those are super fun. Man, stories from the road. It's like there's so many funny things. Let me think here.
Yeah.
Can you kick me an idea of anything? All I can think of is my meltdown.
She's kind of got a smile going.
Ohio and
she's got a couple in her head.
Oh, I can tell you the Alicia Keys story when I went to the Grammys.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, it was a great moment. Everybody in the Recording Academy will hate me for this, but so I was at this producers and engineers wing event. I mean, we are at the Rainbow Room at Rockefeller Center. Well, at the top of Rockefeller Center, and Alicia Keys and her husband Swizz Beatz are being awarded by the producers and engineers wing. So we're up there. I mean, and this room is full of everybody who's made every record that you have been listening to for the last I don't know how many years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's some and for those of you who are jazz fans, like Chick Corea was playing that night also.
Nice.
I was like freaking out. It was so cool. But I mean, you're also in a room of industry people who want to network because it's music's biggest week, leading up to music's biggest night, kind of a thing. And they're all, chatting, da-da-da-da-da. So it's a loud room. So Neil Portnow comes out to, talk about Neil Portnow stuff. And
who is he one more time?
He is the president of the Recording Academy. Okay. For now. He's resigning this year.
Oh, so that Neil Portnow.
That Neil Portnow. Yeah, the one that got in super trouble. That guy.
Ah.
And it was just one of these things, like you have to shush the crowd. So he says a couple of things, and the gal who heads up the producers and engineers wing comes out, says a couple of things, and they have to keep shushing people. Alicia comes out. She and Swizz, start to give their speeches as they get awarded, and people are, kind of respecting that in the moment. And then Chick Corea comes out to start playing, and he's got a mic, and he goes to say something, and the room just erupts in chatter, and they just talk over him.
Oh.
And I was like, what?
Wow.
They're talking over Chick Corea? What is in
You're
this?
Talking 40, 50 years, and you're just treating him like a jukebox.
22 Grammys. And he's like getting talked over. So he's like, whatever. He sits down, starts playing. And then Alicia comes down and starts singing with him. They're still talking over. Like everybody is still, it's like a loud bar. And it hit me in that moment. I was like, Chick Corea and Alicia Keys are some of the most amazing artists you will ever see in your lifetime. And they're being talked over. And I was like, this is just the American way, I guess. Like, I'm like, I'm never going to feel bad playing in a bar or winery and people are not listening to me. I'm in good company because here are two of the greatest artists of our time. And people are still like, yeah, cool, whatever. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm never going to complain about that ever again.
So,
and I haven't.
Despite people being lame, now you've been able to work with that.
Yeah. I mean, I truly do think it's a cultural thing, honestly. Yeah. I think that in America, specifically for us, we're very like multitask. Like we're on our phones, we're chatting, we're talking about our beer and our wine and this and that. Mm-hmm. And, we've got the TV going on at the same time.
Where's the end game coming?
Yeah. And so, exactly. I feel like people are just sort of like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And they love it. Like we love music. We love live shows.
Totally. But
we also are very...
only love it in our little space.
Yeah. And we're like, cool, that was an awesome 30 seconds. Remember that last time? Yeah. We're loud. We are loud and obnoxious. It's true.
Wow, you just acted like me at a show. Just saying. Okay, so on that note, we're getting the wrap-up signal, but we are going to have you back if you'd like.
I'd love to come back.
It'd be great to hear some tunes.
Sure.
Some of the new singles, and yeah, we'll have a good time.
Absolutely.
We already had one.
Yeah.
So, a couple ways people can get a hold of you guys. Tell us.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, at The Amber Sweeney. You can sign up for my email list if you go to theambersweeney.com, which I would love because I love actually talking with people. And yeah, just stay in touch with me on social media, The Amber Sweeney.
All right, that will work. Everybody get on the Amber Sweeney train. Make this a Sweeney spot.
I like that.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Love it. We'll be talking.
Yeah. I don't feel myself today. I can't explain it. No, I can't shake it. Everyone wants to label me without hearing my voice, without giving me a choice. It's hard to break the glass when you're swinging at the mirror, screaming at your reflection. It's time to change my language.